Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for the Certainty in an Uncertain World, What to Do Now webinar part 2. My name is Alexa Gil Rodriguez, practice analyst with NextLevel Practice. Welcome back for those of you returning, and for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. We have brought this coalition together of top advisors in their space as a first response team for you, our dental community. Before we start, just a quick mention that we would love your participation with questions. If you look down in your taskbar, you'll see there's a Q&A button. This is where you'll want to go to push and type your question in. Please try not to go into the chat button to have those running simultaneously. It'll be a challenge. Head to the Q&A button first, or the Q&A button. I will then be giving the questions to our speakers to address with you, and we will try to get to as many questions as we can during our time here. On to our first speaker. He's the founder and CEO of NextLevel Practice. It's my pleasure to welcome my colleague, Mr. Gary Kadi.
Thank you, Alexa, and thank you all participants, listeners, and my colleagues here. Very grateful to be with you again on this second Tuesday, and thank you for all the acknowledgments that you've given all of us for putting this all together. We don't take our position lightly as leaders in the dental industry and advocates for our dentists and our dental teams. And I want to start out by acknowledging this past week was the hardest for sure for dental leaders, whether you've been in and out of crisis like myself. This is the third one. I did 9/11, we did 2008, and now here we are again. Or if you're new to this, I was speaking to a lot of new dentists and dental teams, and they're not used to operating inside of conditions like this. So, I really want to say my hat's off to the dental leaders, and we're all leaders, right? I mean, whether you're a dentist and you had to make layoffs last week, or you're a dental team, I want to acknowledge you for, I can't tell you how often I heard about the compassion and the understanding of making the best of a very challenging decision. And then really the frontline people, the people that are actually doing this work, people that are doing emergency work. And, I've just heard so many great stories about N95 masks, going to painting companies and getting them and being able to serve people. Or, if you have family members who are on the front lines in emergency rooms right now, this is a challenging time. And it's really a time for us to come together. And I wanted to start out with a mindset for session 2 today. And it was in the meditation. We put in a practice, my wife and I, Judith, in putting in a meditation. And this morning's meditation was very interesting. It spoke about the giver, the receiver, and the gift. And during these challenging times, sometimes we're all, we're built to be givers, and we give, and we don't necessarily receive. Or the gift that we have, we kind of just sit back and not offer it. But during these challenging times, I think really the giver, the receiver, and the gift, notice that having this balanced out during these challenging times, being mindful around, are you a giver? Or if you're a giver and you're not used to receiving, allowing the receipt of something to happen, right, during this time. Or, you might have a gift that you might not even realize that you have as a gift, and you can offer that to people. Or you actually have a gift, and it's time to give that in a different way during these challenging times. And I want to acknowledge my colleagues for being givers and receivers and having gifts, because working together with you is really, has been really magical. So I want to thank, and we're going to introduce everybody, and we're going to talk about what they're going to talk about today. First, Bob Affleck, of Dental Advocate and City Advisor. I want to thank you for your partnership. And Bob's going to talk about, on today's session, what to do with the loans that you have. He's an expert. He's on the lending side. So what to do and how to interface with your lender right now. Steve Parker, my dear friend and colleague of the Profitable Dentist, is going to talk about some of the latest legislation for, unemployment. He has a lot of employees. He has dental practices, dental labs. Steve is an expert on many things, and I asked him to really bring forth this in today's session. And then Andrew Lopez of Dr. Genius, I wanted to thank you for your partnership. And Andrew's going to talk about personal development during this period. He's going to talk about some insights about how to manage the thinking during these times. my dear newest colleague, and he's like, just become a dear friend. We're aligned in values. Brian has a special teledentistry tool that you're going to be able to take advantage of during these times. Important aspect, and I want to thank Andrew for introducing us to Brian and your partnership. Tanya is going to talk about testing and what's available right now for ourselves, protecting ourselves, and then really the availability of testing for the dental industry. Tanya, thank you for being here, and thank you for your continued partnership as we march along together. So I want to go out and get started. Let's go up to Bob and start right now. We've had a lot of questions about what to do with our loans. How should we manage them? And Bob has some great insight, and I'd like to turn it over to Bob now, please.
Hey, thank you, Gary. And first of all, I just really want to commend you and also your amazing team for putting this all together. I think that you've created such a great community in the dental world, and I've really been noticing what's been going on, and I just am very excited to be a part of it. I would have to say that within the lending world right now, without a doubt, we are getting inundated with calls from our clients. And primarily, it's been a little overwhelming, but at the same time, I've really appreciated the fact of being able to help and talk to our clients and really guide them through this time that they need to try to free up, some of their cash flow by helping them with deferred payments. So again, I think for us, when it comes to, I wanted to share something today. If I can do that, hold on, sorry, everybody. I wanted to share this with you because I think you can all see my screen, right? Hold on.
See your screen, and we see the,
there we go. Okay.
There we go. Yes.
So really what I wanted to go through today and through this past week, I've been listening to different podcasts and inspirational people out there that really inspire me. And I came across this podcast by the gentleman by the name of Andy Stanley. And this really ties into really what I wanted to talk about today. And his message is on what is distracting you. So, basically the things that are distracting, the things that are distracting us are not as nearly as important as the things that we are distracted from. And I thought that was very pertinent because the things that obviously are distracting us right now are the things that are taking us away from our normal lives, obviously, that we are living, that we were used to living, and taken away with this coronavirus. And obviously, the world that we see right now is a lot different than the world we were in before. Obviously, watching the news and the things that we're seeing on the news, I would just recommend for everybody just to get the information that you need, but definitely let's not watch it all day long because I think that can take you down a bad path. But at the same time, I think what's really important is I think we're all living in a state of fear as well. So with that, I would just say that what's most important thing we are getting distracted from is, I think, taking care of ourselves. And I think that when we're not taking care of ourselves, we can't really help the ones that really depend on us the most. So I would say getting our house in order and getting our business in order is something that we need to be focused on at this time. So, what is it that one thing that we are getting distracted from? Is obviously sometimes our current financial obligations. And as I said before, when it comes to what we can do right now, and I know that the lenders out there are really working hard to help their clients. But if you haven't done this already, I would absolutely reach out to your current lenders and ask them if they can actually provide you with at least 3 months of deferred payments. I think that should be able to assist you up until the time that this all gets turned around. For those of you that have been reaching out and taking that advice on the SBA disaster loan, I think some of you are finding some frustration in trying to get onto their website Primarily, that obviously is because there's probably thousands of people at the same time trying to get there. And what my recommendation would be right now, if you're having a hard time getting onto the website, is to maybe stay up late at night or early in the morning when everybody else is sleeping and get on the website and go about it that way. But I can tell you there is a heavy load on that. What I also understand and what I found out this week is it was taking up to probably 4 to 6 weeks for really the SBA to turn everything around. You know, during that time, I know that really there's some clients out there that I've been talking to that, you know, really are still tight on cash flow. And what are they going to do within that time period? So, so primarily what I went out and did is I started to look for other options and things that they could actually do. And what I would recommend is reaching out to specific lenders and obtaining a working capital loan or a line of credit. I would definitely say if you were to reach out and ask for something like this, I would go for at least 1 to 2 months of expenses, if possible, from these lenders that provide this working capital loan. Obviously, do that and make sure that you do not have a prepayment penalty on that, because really I'm calling this more an interim loan and or like a bridge loan to use while you're waiting for the SBA in hopes that they're going to be able to provide you those funds. But at least you can pay that off once you receive it. Obviously reach out to your supply companies and obviously ask them about their deferred payments. I'm sure that they're going to be willing to work with you. And landlords, you know, I definitely heard both the positive and negatives with the landlords right now. Some landlords have been very willing, from the clients I've been talking to, willing to work with them and help them defer their payments, but I would definitely give that a try as well. So I'm going to move on, and basically I would say, what's the one thing we seem to always get distracted from, even before the virus? We always get so caught up in our everyday lives, and obviously within our practice when we're working in the practice, and get distracted by doing all the things that you do there. But the one thing that I would say would be most important is to focus on the attention of your business side of the practice, and really start to build a strong foundation. And here's really my recommendations, and the recommendations I've been really trying to give to my clients that call me on this is really start out with doing a business evaluation. And I know that you, Gary, at NextLevel actually do this very well and help doctors to really see what's going on within their practice, and be able to give them some ideas and suggestions on what they can do to actually improve upon these different systems within their practice. This is the other thing that I think that you brilliantly have done, is put together a mastermind group for doctors out there. And I think this is so cool that you're doing this, because, you know, I think this is really bringing the community together, but also helping them to better understand what the business side of the practice should look like, and helping them to kind of see what's going on within their practice. And also you've got Dr. Genius on here as well. You know, this is the time really to start to fine tune your websites and your marketing and everything else, because you're going to want to start to come out with a new message of health and how you're going to create better health for your clients, which leads me to our favorite friend, Tanya, at PerioProtect. And now you have an even better solution to offer healthy solutions for your patients through PerioProtect. And obviously the other advisors on this team. So with that said, I just want to say, return back to your practice. And when you return back, you'll become the leader from within. Start from a place of empowerment and already be ahead of the curve. If you have any questions or and would like to contact me with anything, please feel free to do so. I look forward to helping you.
Thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Bob, for your wisdom around that. I got 2 texts coming up, 3 texts, and Alexa's going to curate the conversation, please.
Okay, so I have a question from Dr. Holgermeiser. Do we know what interest rates on the SBA programs will be and repayment structures?
Yes, absolutely. So the interest rate, from what we understand, is 3.75%, and they are taking the terms out to 30 years. So
That's a big deal.
Yeah, that's a huge deal. Yep.
Wow, that's great.
Okay, a couple, one more here. Where do you get line of credit or a loan if your dental loan is paid off?
So I think if your dental loan is paid off, it becomes much easier for you to actually obtain a loan or line of credit for a term loan for your practice. You can pretty much contact all the dental lenders in the industry, and they would definitely be willing to actually provide you that at this point.
Yeah, there was two, I have two people texting me, Fundbox, Fundbox, Corbin Cowan from Sleep Vivos company is recommending that. Thank you, Corbin. Also, Tom Slezak of Patterson Financial said you can email the rep and get connected with a 90-day deferment. So thanks, Tom Slezak and Patterson Financial for offering that as well. I know Benco has opportunities as well. These are just ones that are coming into me personally via text. So, and of course, Bob can quarterback because I use, you also use Bob in this state because Bob not only has CitiBank, but he can help us find. Also, Fundbox can be approved within 24 hours. Fundbox can be approved in 24 hours. So that's a nice solution as well.
Yeah.
So thank you, Corbin, for that. Okay.
Right.
Alexa, any other questions or can I move on to our next person?
We can move on.
Great. I want to move on to, let's move on to Tanya. Are you able to speak auditorily now? Can you go? I want to get down to Tanya on the phone. Can't hear you. You're muted, I think. Let's try you now, Tanya.
I'm talking. Hey, all right.
Gotcha.
So this is going to reinforce Dr. Laskin's point from last week. It's always better if you do this on text and not live. So I want to let everybody know there is coronavirus testing for dental offices now. It's $125 a test. What we really need is a test where you do like a finger stick and get your results in 10 minutes. And those are not going to be available for some time. If you really want to test, just contact me at the end and I'll let you know how you can do it. It's not through us. We're not making money on this test. We've negotiated a lower rate though for anyone who wants it in dental practices. And I'm happy to get you connected. They have thousands available as of yesterday.
It's great. Thank you, Tanya. I appreciate you offering that. One of the things Norma, our hygienist out in California, had mentioned that that we'd also like this on the backside of when we can go back to work, the possibility of testing our patients as well. So, we're going to put some protocols together for this, taking temperatures, things like that. So not only, I think for the test right now, we really need it for our own practitioners and, the possibility of patients on the backside too. So, just, it's great that we now have access to testing because that was not available to us at all. So thank you, Tanya, for being a resource for that. Really appreciate it. Cool. Let's move over to Andrew. Andrew, if you could just block us. Tanya, if you can shut off. Can you shut? There you go. Perfect. All right, we're back. All good. We can now hear. We're going to now need hearing tests available. So we'll go from coronavirus test to hearing test. Any questions before I go to Andrew? What we're looking to do is put Q&A in after each speaker on the topic. Alexa, is there any questions or thoughts that had come up before we go to you, Andrew, please?
We do have a few questions still pertaining to Bob, which we can either answer or Bob can answer directly as we move along. So
yeah, I need you to curate and control that. So if it's a blanket of people, because we have hundreds of people on, if it's something relevant that came up, you can come back to it. That'd be great. If not, you can direct it to Bob.
Yeah, we can move forward. We can move forward.
Okay, great. Tanya, is there anything for Tanya at this point? Testing.
Okay. Actually, it was just for Tanya's contact information. Tanya, if you'd like to put that in there, but we can move on.
All right, great. Andrew, thank you for being here, please.
Thanks, Gary. Thanks everybody for joining, and thanks for everybody on the panel today for coming together. It is definitely some trying times we're going through from a business perspective and a personal perspective, right? So what I want to focus on today is rising up and what we're going to do as individuals, as well as business owners. But I guess the way to start off is, if we're only looking behind us, how do we know what's ahead? So I'm going to challenge everybody that's on the webinar today to rise up and look ahead. Okay. So what does that mean? That means rising up, staying connected with your employees, whether or not they're on unemployment or not. Rising up and supporting your local community, the food banks, the women's shelters, and the individuals in need of your assistance. Let's rise up and spread the message via Facebook communities and our websites where individuals can find assistance. And let's rise up and write the content for our communities to focus on complete health. So I'm going to challenge each and every one of you to do this. Okay. There's some things we can do right now in regards to getting that content out there. You can go on to Google, just type in the search Google Posts. It's post.withgoogle.com, and you can start writing content. Okay. And proactively maintaining it is crucial. Updating it, being that pillar, right? Updating your hours of operation on your website. Letting your patients and the community know the future of the practice and what's going on in the dental industry. Inform your patients on what you're doing on SOPs, testing, like what we have with Tanya, brought to light today. That's amazing. And that's a great opportunity to write content around that. So you're staying ahead of the curve to ensure your patients know that you're not spreading the virus. Make sure the information's out there if you are providing emergency services in regards to maybe teledentistry, but making sure that that information is out there and these individuals can connect with you. Because we really need to feel, everybody on this call, as well as our communities, need to feel that we have one another still, and that our society is still there, right? Our support network is still there. It's still intact. So I really challenge you to do that. Google Posts features allows businesses to create the content directly on Google. Okay, so it's going to help with your search engine optimization. It's crucial that you include your practice name, your location, things of that nature. That's going to help in the future with your SEO. Okay, now on the personal side, we're all going through, every morning we wake up, it's something new. And like what Gary said in our last call, we're building a plane while we're flying it. So to speak to that, and for the personal mind and personal growth, and what I can personally suggest is, a chart reading that is something that I did by my close friend, Sophie Grigori. And, you tap into yourself and take time to invest into yourself. Personally, Sophie answered a lot of questions I had about myself. If you're curious, I'm a Gemini, so it probably answers a lot of questions for you. But now, knowing why I do half the shit I do in the workplace and at home, from taking risks like moving abroad, starting a company smack in the middle of the last financial crisis, delivering both of my children with my wife in our living room at home. So Sophie has helped me tremendously with growing, getting to know myself personally, and knowing how I'm going to handle these hard times that are in front of all of us. So I feel I'm giving myself the tools and the path to come out of this stronger than ever before, even though I don't know what's in store for me tomorrow. So I urge you to take this time to get to know yourself, find your personal why, the path you're taking to come out of this stronger. Another suggestion would be to write and share. Start updating your About Us page on your practice's website. Include your why, the vision that you have coming out of this. dive deeper dive deeper into each individual team member of the practice and have them describe their why and their vision. This will help to get to know your staff and what drives them on a professional and personal level. And then create a practice video interviewing each team member, creating a virtual intro to your team, because that's where we are today. This will not only help the future of your SEO, but more importantly, I feel it will reduce patient anxiety, increase practice loyalty, and create trust in these uncertain times we're in. And whether you want to believe it or not, you and your team are all pillars in the community, as Gary said. And you are on the front line each and every day with complete health. So it's more important now than ever before to rise up for your families, for your patients, for your team members, and for your community. This is the time to establish yourself as a resource that is available to educate, assist the individuals in need. So I challenge you as a dentist and as a complete health professional to look to the future and rise up and share your knowledge.
Thank you, ma'am. That's beautiful, Andrew. Thank you very, very much. So much in there. Andrew spoke about mental health inside of there. Next Tuesday, we are going to have mental health professionals because of the stress levels. I'm also speaking to the #1 suicide prevention person on Thursday. And so we're looking to continue what Andrew began here, which is the conversation about keeping our head straight inside of chaos. How do we, the storm around us is going on. Who are we going to be in the face of it all? Andrew, thank you so much. Any thoughts or questions on that, Alexa, that we need to address?
No, we don't.
Great.
But we have comments that it was perfect and great. Thank you, Andrew.
Yes. I want to go into Steve next, and then we're going to leave Brian for the end because Brian has, he's going to walk us through teledentistry. So I want to give him the time and space he's going to need to do that. Steve Parker and I spoke this morning. I just want to give you, before Steve goes, I want to give you some formatting because I think certainty in the face of uncertainty has to do with routine and formatting. So I want to give you some structure for going forward. The way we set this up is on the weekends, we usually find a lot of new information from the Fed, state, and local governments. So we're using Monday as a way after the weekend where people are working 24/7 to gather all that information and bring you the latest on Tuesday. So the structure is please make sure that you show up on each Tuesday because we're going to bring you the latest on what we find in solutions and what's going on changing in the government. And then Tuesday, you receive that information. We're suggesting on Wednesday is when you have your communication with your teams. So that format of Monday, we gather and organize. Tuesday, we deliver and give you content and direction. Wednesday, you then trickle that down to your communities, to your team, to your family, like that. So that's usually the format we're using. Steve, we were talking about some of the, oh, and by the way, also in between, please, at the end, get connected on the WhatsApp site. The WhatsApp site, there was over 200 posts over the weekend of the latest stuff. Alexa, can you just mention this before Steve goes?
Sure. So we have, after the webinar, we will be sending a link to, we have 2 groups going right now. We have a command center through WhatsApp. You'll receive the link for that. And we have, I think, over 400 doctors right now on there, I think is the number. I'm not sure the latest. And then we'll also have, we have a Facebook group going on right now that Steve can mention as well. He's leading it. These 2 are great resources for you to collaborate. Oh, there it is.
Beautiful. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Alexa. Steve, please, let's talk about the 6201 isolation order.
Okay. And I will, first of all, I'm going to go old style. You know, Bob's way ahead of me. I'm going to show my technical ability and age. We're on a short staff here at TPD World Headquarters. So, you know, I do know how to print and hold it up in front of a camera. So I'll do that.
Oh my gosh.
I wanted to start this, you know, and as Gary said, we had a conversation about the government, you know, I'm not even sure what word to put on it, government stuff that's going on right now. And there's a lot. I think, in fact, the people I've talked with, it's been almost like a civics lesson. you know, where does the federal government start and stop? Where does my state government start and stop? Where does my local government start and stop? You know, my city says I can do this, but my state says I can do that. And the federal government says, you know, I can't do any of it. So, I'm going to just make two quick comments and then get into the nuts and bolts of this. One is my personal belief is we're in a time where I don't think anybody's going to get fined. You know, there's no local ordinance people going to come throw you in jail because you're driving to the office when you really can only go to the grocery. You know, there's a lot of confusing things, especially in Indiana. You know, you can go do these things, but you're not supposed to leave your house. So, you know, which one is it? And on top of that, guess what? You know, I got a thing yesterday that says the local police are not going to pull you over anyway. So if I decide to go to the office instead of going to the grocery and I pass a New Albany or Louisville city police officer, they're not pulling me over anyway. So that can be very confusing. And what I want to do is just say that's okay. So as Gary said, on Monday or over the weekend, when you try to digest all this and you think you're going to have it figured out, I promise you you're not. So don't let that overwhelm you. Don't worry about it. If anybody tells you they've got a handle on it, they know exactly what's going on and how to deploy from here, they're lying to you. They don't. Nobody does. Even the people making the laws don't. That's okay right now. Because my second point is, I've been through a lot of business, you know, a lot of business wars. And what I see is a lot of help from all three levels of government, federal, state, and local, that I have never, ever seen before. I saw, you know, Chuck Schumer today said, we're gonna cover 4 months of employees' lost wages. Now that's words, and I don't know what that turns into, but I've never heard anything like that before. I don't know if they can do it, but what it does for me as a practice owner and you as a practice owner, anybody who's watching right now, is it tells you that they are doing something. And I can tell you in my 35 years of business, I've never seen anything like that, unprecedented. You were, as a business owner, you're kind of on your own. So I want to touch on one quick thing here, as Gary mentioned, and it's HR. I'm going to hold this up here. You know, again, Bob and I are going to go offline. He's going to show me how to do the share screen thing. I'm going to show HR 6201. It was passed on the 18th. And what it covers is the Family and Medical Leave Act, FMLA. Now, what's significant about it is, and you can look it up, is probably the biggest thing that they did was extend it and change the definition. So up until this point, only companies under 50 employees were affected by family and medical leave, FMLA, when basically it gives you, it was designed to give your employees an amount of time off to maybe take care of a sick family member, have a baby, all those kind of things. Well, they've canceled the under 50 rule, or excuse me, over 50 rule, which is why most dentists have never heard of it. You know, they're probably, I think, under 3% of practices that are over 50 employees. So it never mattered. They've extended that to under 500. And what that means is essentially every small business in America. And what they've done is said something very significant. And I'll post this. Actually, we're posting documents in the Facebook group. I'll post these documents and the links. What they've said is something very significant. They've said that under 500, if an employee is subject to federal, state, and local quarantine or an isolation order related to COVID-19. So here in Indiana, yesterday, we got an order from the governor called the Directive for Hoosiers to Stay Home. So the way all this ties together is this is an order from our state government that says it's an isolation order. You can't leave the house. Now, if you can't leave the house, you can't go to work. If you can't go to work, the state is going to kick in some funds. The federal government through FMLA is going to kick in some funds. On top of, we talked the last session about your unemployment state benefits. Almost every state, I believe it's everyone, I have somebody kind of checking that, but everyone has done away with the waiting period. You don't have to wait a week or 2 weeks. They might voucher you, but you at least get the money. And number two, you've got to be looking for work requirement has been waived completely. So what that means is, as an employer, when I'm looking at, as Bob said, I'm looking at my cash flow. And as Gary's going to talk about how I determine my cash flow, that's a lot of cash going out because I want my team to at least be able to pay the bills. What's happening now is you can push some of that off onto the state under unemployment. You can push some of that off into the federal government under FMLA. And whatever happens with this bill that's in front of Congress right now, you know, according to Chuck Schumer, their time frame is 4 months. If it's only 2 or 3, we're probably still good. So when I jumble all that together, what I see is somehow in some fashion, I think our employees and workers are going to see pretty much the majority of their pay. Not sure the nuts and bolts of how they're going to do it, but I think every level of government is sort of committed to that. So that's what I see in how the legislation is progressing. So you can't tell your employees today exactly how to work, but I think you can say, listen, there's so much going on right now that we're all going to be okay. Everybody's throwing enough money in to make sure that employees get paid, which means they can buy the stuff they need, which means our companies can all function, and you know, people go to the dentist, and we sort of get this whole economic engine going sooner. So
Thank you, Steve.
thank you. That's what I have.
Yeah, awesome. Appreciate you. Alexa?
I have a couple questions. So I have, just to verify that FMLA is to be paid by employers?
No, Family Medical Leave Act, what they're doing is giving an employer benefit. They're reimbursing us as an employer. If employees are local quarantine or an isolation order related to the COVID-19 virus is given. So that is like yesterday. This is hot off the press. My understanding of it is we're probably paying some payroll. Any payroll that we do pay, we're getting reimbursed. So I will tell you this. Here's the promise I'll make. Anything that I get, and I'm trying to get all kinds of clarification, and once I get it, it will go on to the WhatsApp and go into the Facebook group when I get any clarification whatsoever on the mechanics of how that works. But my understanding is they will reimburse anybody who keeps employees on, and then along with so that basically takes the burden of cash flow off of us ultimately. Which is
where we need to be. And people are asking for the connection to WhatsApp, Alexa, and we're going to make sure you have those. Steve also mentioned the cash flow equation. I want to give that to you now. I'm also going to put this up so that you can use this. This is going to be an Excel spreadsheet. I've done, for all of our clients, we're doing this right now. I'm just going to show it briefly, and then I want to get right to Brian so he can finish us up today. So I just want to share this very quickly. This is called our spreadsheet solvency calculator. And so what you want to do is, I'll just go over it briefly. You want to put your cash on hand, which is what you have in your bank. Then you want to take out the outstanding checks that are still haven't been cashed. Anything over 60 days, I recommend canceling those checks and reissuing them if they come back. But I would lock that down so you know that you know how much cash on hand you have. Then you want to look at your receivables. I know that this seems very fundamental, but I would do all hands on deck to collect accounts receivables from insurance companies. Let's say in this case, there's 80,956. These are patients. What I would suggest, I'm suggesting for right now, last week, this week, I would not be calling patients. We are going to talk about how to approach patients, but not right now. I don't recommend it. There's other insurance and things to be calculated. So if you take your cash on hand, your net cash on hand, and then your potential available cash, that gives you a certain dollar amount. And then, picking up on what Bob was talking about, really looking at, you're deferring as much payments as you can with regard to your expenses. Steve, also, I heard, and again, we need to verify this so we're very careful on what we're sharing, but I know in New York City, you cannot evict somebody for 3 months. So they've eliminated the eviction for 3 months. That gives you leverage, not having to pay your rent. So you want to check on your local area on that, because again, that's a deferment that they're giving you because they're not going to evict you. And then any other expenses that you can push out, that gives you your remaining potential cash on hand. And the ideal is to have 3 months cash flow. That's where we want to be. So the average dentist is probably around 1 or 1.5. But when you defer payments, that increases the longevity of that cash flow. And then you want to supplement. Some doctors are doing HELOCs on their home. That's faster. Fundbox, Bob's got all these, access. You want to get 3 months. So remember on our last session, it was 90-day plan, broken down into 3 30-day plans, reviewed on a weekly basis and a daily basis. So this is quick. I just wanted to give this to you. This is a format you can use. And we'll post this in the WhatsApp and the Facebook group at the end. Now I want to go to Brian. Brian, thank you so much for all your efforts. You're an incredible partner and human being, visionary. And now your visionary tools are now becoming the need that we need right now. So I want to thank you for your contribution to the group. Please, if you would, share about teledentistry opportunity.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it. And, thanks to everybody on the panel, and to, I appreciate everybody who showed up today. Like Andrew was saying, now's not the time to rest. And so showing up shows that you kind of get it, and appreciate that. Is my screen being shared now?
It is, yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, I put this little funny dinosaur guy, because I think right now there's a lot of confusion around teledentistry, and it was we've been doing teledentistry for a while, but and everybody's interested in it, but not a lot of execution on it, and now obviously it's been pushed to the forefront because a lot of state associations, the ADA is telling it to push it, and I've got some more information from last week where there's some great billing that's changes that have helped for teledentistry. But when most people think of teledentistry, let me see if I can click forward. There we go. When most people think of teledentistry, they think of synchronous video like what we're doing today. And as Tanya said, I mentioned last week, I wouldn't recommend doing this with your patients. I don't think that patients don't want to talk to us like this, and I certainly don't want to talk to my patients like this. If you're in your pajamas, or if you need to respond to a patient right away, it can be problematic because you don't really know what you're getting into. Also, then you have to be available at the same time as the patient, which can obviously be problematic. So a better way is to have people send you their information. They can do it from their phone, from their computer. Have you be able to review it on your time and then message the patient back. It's called asynchronous communication. So patients can send videos, they can send photos, and then as you can see here, most of the times, in a general setting before this crisis, 99% of the time, patients just need to be reassured, and then you can get people scheduled on when it's convenient for you. Now it's just as equally important because we have to verify if something is emergent or not. And obviously a photo or a video will give you much more information than not. Being a dentist, I'm sure the other dentists will agree with me that patients never know what's going on in their mouth. I had one patient that was trying to extract the wrong tooth on themselves. I mean, every dentist has stories. So being able to see a photo or video, that's, it takes you 10 seconds to review that versus having a conversation for 20 minutes where the patient's telling you about their kid's soccer game getting rescheduled and stuff. And so obviously there's more to teledentistry than this, but for the sake of time, just wanted to mention how I would recommend when talking with your patients to do it asynchronously, like texting versus live chatting. Here's the sort of updated information. Sorry, it's not a beautiful slide. I obviously did this one myself. There's two teledentistry codes, and they're both kind of viewed the same. However, they've been split into synchronous and asynchronous, just as I talked about it before. D9995 is the synchronous code. D9996 is the asynchronous code. And what's sort of changed in the last week is now there's 7 insurance companies. I can send over which 7 insurance companies, although it's expanded greatly. So my guess is that pretty much all insurance companies, that's a guess, but I would assume that others are going to be jumping on board. But those aren't, importantly, these are not standalone codes. So to be reimbursed by insurance companies, you should include another code, a diagnostic code, and I have those regular codes here. So you can do a limited exam and like an asynchronous 9996 teledentistry code, and it should be reimbursed by those 7 insurance companies as a limited exam. And again, so all you do is look at the photo, document that you obviously reviewed the photo, and I would put the photo or the video into the patient's chart. In some cases, like in our system, that happens automatically once you link it to the patient, and then you should be able to be reimbursed now from those insurance companies as if you saw the patient in your office. Right now, they're saying it's during the crisis. However, I can't, on the medical side, telehealth, that's being covered in general. So hopefully that'll be extended beyond. Then, so for the people on the webinar, we put together a special deal so if you go to operadds.com/NextLevel Practice, there's absolutely no charge for 30 days. So you can get going, you can try it out. So, trying to do our part to get people through this crisis. So you can sign up. I put the landing page looks like this. So you just put in some information and someone can go over, give you a kind of a tour of how to leverage the system, including a pre-screening form that we have to send to patients before. I went over that a little bit last time, how to screen patients before they come to your office to make sure that you shouldn't be sending them to a medical professional first, and then also the teledentistry, like I discussed here. So that's, now it was easy to share. Let's see if I can unshare.
Beautiful. Well, thanks, Brian, for creating
Sure.
that, for creating this and bringing it to the forefront of what's needed right now. And then also for your generosity for allowing our participants to jump on for no cost and getting started. You're an amazing human being. I'm so grateful that our paths have crossed, and thank you for being here. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks a lot for assembling this. I think, all the panelists are bringing great information, and right now, being part of a group like this is fantastic. We're in it together, and so appreciate it, Gary. Thanks.
You bet. So we'll have, we have a bunch of questions coming in. Alexa's going to take care of them. Yes, Alexa, please.
Thank you, Brian. So I have one I'm not sure if you touched upon. I have one about if a patient does not have insurance, how does that work?
It's easier because you can do pretty much whatever you want. You can just charge the patient the teledentistry code, and they can pay it if you want to do it that way. Prior to this crisis, we were not charging for teledentistry viewing because it actually makes our job much easier. We can see what's going on. If the patient has a broken tooth and you know you're going to do the crown, you can schedule them appropriately. It makes our lives a lot easier. Now, if you're charging insurance companies for those codes, I would be careful to be consistent across everybody. So I would charge everybody personally the same now. So we're making that change at my office now to start charging for exams just like we are for teledentistry exams, just like we are for in-office exams. But just know that obviously some patients you want to, if they're paying out of their pocket for it, you want to manage that just like you would anything else.
Right, but I love the fact that it keeps us safe too, because you can keep it at a distance and operate that way too, Brian, which is really, I know it's obvious, but it's really a great service during this time, right?
100%.
Alexa, yeah, thank you. Alexa, there was some questions about total health and complete health dentistry as well. I saw coming in. Do you want to address that?
Okay, we had that up here. Let's see here. We had, sorry guys, and bear with us. There's quite a bit coming in, a lot of doctors on, and I wish we could answer everything. I'm sorry about that.
You can take this offline to, people are asking for, can you give us the WhatsApp location and the TPD again?
Sure. So, okay, so just to give everybody peace of mind, so the name of the Facebook is T as in Tom, P as in Peter, D as in David, Magazine Practice Owners. There we go. Thank you, Steve. There we go. Now the WhatsApp is only through invitation. So that you will receive post-webinar. I can't give you a link. I can't give you anything for that right now. Just know it's called Certainty in Uncertainty. So you will receive a follow-up to this webinar to be able to join. Okay.
So if you were on this webinar, you look for the email that comes to you. That's where you're going to get the invitation. You do what? Give us the specifics so people understand.
So you simply link, you press the link that you receive in the email for the WhatsApp, and it'll ask you to join this group, and you automatically will be redirected, and you will accept and join, and then you'll be up to speed with everybody that's on there today.
Got it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And Dr. Genius can help with the teledentistry and getting that implemented on the sites as well. If you guys need help. So
On the websites?
yes, so having the teledentistry widget on the website so they can actually communicate when they're going there.
That's great. Thank you, Andrew.
And this also is being recorded. It will be also part of the follow-up email that you'll receive with the 2 links to the support group. Okay.
Great. There was a complete health question, a bunch of those coming through. Did you see those?
I am, Gary. Hold on. Let's see here. Okay. Problem is we had 2 simultaneously going at the same time. So let's see. So this guy's, yeah. Do you see it, Ryan? Hold on.
It's right here.
Oh, wait. No, that's not it. Do you see it? Help a girl out. Hold on.
Where is a good place to find out about total health? That's the one that I see.
I think that is it. Okay.
Dr. McClatchy.
I'm sorry, that what, Ryan?
It's
All right, well, we can move on.
To find out about total health.
It's I'll help you out here, Gary. Every time you say Alexa's name, my Alexa keeps saying I don't have an answer for that question.
Bob,
A little
don't even get me started. Don't get me started of what Amazon has done to me.
It's changed your life. All right, I won't say it Alexa anymore, Alexa. I won't say Alexa. I won't say Alexa. I promise I won't say Alexa. So what I will say is there's some questions here. Do you charge a fee for teledentistry and an additional for an exam? Is it 2 fees or 1?
It's 1. So it has to be one combined code, 2 codes, but you only can get reimbursed for the exam.
Yep, great. And Donna Williams says, as a dentist practicing in the epicenter in Harlem, New York, Donna, thank you for sharing this and thank you for your service. I just wanted to thank OperaDDS. At the same time, we're watching you all last week. My team signed us up for teledentistry, and it's been very therapeutic for me. Still being able to connect with my patients and help them. I feel that I am still on my purpose, though the governor has stopped us from seeing patients for other than ERs. So Donna Williams, thank you very much. And thanks for the acknowledgement for Brian. Also, we have dentists out. I was just in a conversation with a dentist from Minnesota today. Want to thank Dr. Miser. He's actually, he set up his office so he can live there, keep separate from his family, and he's actually going to take care of patients and really hunker down in his practice in Minnesota. I mean, this is the kind of heroic things that are actually going on in our universe. I just got off before him with a dentist in Canada, Dr. Blair. And this is Dr. Blair. I think I want to share this with everybody because I think he really encapsulated, we're talking about what to do now, and he's got his foot in the present and his eye onto the future. And he's like, I need to consider that I cannot come out of this thinking the same way, having the same experience for my patients the same way. We cannot do that. Please do not go in like this is going to be business as usual. That's why hunkering down with people that are leading you forward to what's possible so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. That's really key. And what he's talking about is, and this is what I was mentioning to the gal on the screen with the blonde hair. What was coming across was, how do I become a complete health practice. And this is something we've been practicing for 12 years. So important, because when your patients see you as a complete health practitioner, and the question was, how do I know what's real or not? You want to work with somebody that has been in it for a long time, that has science, evidence-based science support for oral systemic connection. There's places to go like AOSH. There's people that are leading the movement with complete health dentistry. Make sure you separate the idea people from the science and evidence-based position. So vital right now. And there's companies that do that. We happen to be one of them. But thinking that when you come out of this, going into the same approach is going to be completely different. That's why we're bringing in teledentistry. That's why we're bringing in complete health right now. It is so vital, because when patients understand that you moved forward and you're where the puck is going and you're ahead of your patients, because they already get this and they've been getting it. But now that, health is taken away from us, when you put health into the space and you become a complete health practitioner as a dentist, you're going to be way ahead of the curve. So it is so vital. Alexa can help you with that. There's 500 hours of a learning management system ready to go. If you have nothing to do, instead of watching Netflix, watch Dentflix. We call it Dentflix. Much better than Netflix right now. So there's that available to you as well. And Alexa can help you with that. Any other questions, Alexa, before we close our day out today?
We have quite a few that I will definitely post webinar, touch base with everybody right now. It just has to do a lot has to do with teams and what to do with their teams next, really. We have about 4 more minutes, and you let me know if you want me to give you a couple of those. That's kind of what's financial and team based is really what I'm seeing most of.
Yep.
You want to take a couple more, or?
Yeah, let's go. Let's let it rip. There's, as you're pulling that up, Jana Lowe says, that's what I've been saying to our team. Don't have an answer to that question. Funny, not funny. So thanks, Jenna, for weighing in. Ira Bitterman says, I hope the stimulus bill will be a provision for interest-free loans for small businesses, unfair buyouts for big companies. We're going to stay out of politics right now, for sure. And yes, small businesses need to be tended to. Ira, thank you for putting that. I'm just reading, and I probably should have watch what I'm reading here so we don't get into politics as much as I want to. We'll keep moving forward.
It's really around whether you let your team go on unemployment or let go of them really now. What's the best for them?
Right now, unemployment, according to the masses, is a much better move for every party. Because it takes them off your payroll. Again, please, this is not a blanket decision, but I'm giving you 95 to about 95% of the practices have laid their team off because of the leniency of all the things. They don't have to go look for a job, as Steve mentioned. Everything is in favor of letting the government take it in the short period of time and then having them come directly back. Plus all the stimulus bills are all about getting the worker, which I hate that word, the worker taken care of. It's called human beings that we're dealing with here. So given the blanket, if you're still there, some people have part-time, some people are reducing salary. They're reducing salaries for a short period of time. You have to check in with your state before you do that, because you don't want to get hit with hourly wages on the backside if they're working more than 40 hours. So again, we're trying to get in as much as we can, because please understand, like Steve said, no one has all the answers because there's so many variables by state. But we're looking to give you like what the landscape is. And right now, 95% of practices have laid their team off. Okay, so let's close it here. I don't want to go over for people. Alexa, let everybody know what's next. Next week, heads up, we will have our key, each of our panelists will have the next generation of solutions, and we're going to have special guests on for mental health, what to do during this time for stress, anxiety, and fear. Some of the best practitioners, and we're finalizing their participation right now. Anything you'd like to close out with, Alexa?
Well, I really want to give everybody just what their resources are. Again, we're offering 3 main resources. We've talked about the Facebook, the WhatsApp, and we also have one through Gary and I through NextLevel Practice to you. It's called the Recovery Blueprint. You can reach me. You know what? Ryan, do you want to drop that in there? There, thank you so much. There's a link right here on something that that's available to you through us called the Recovery Blueprint. I can assist you with this and learning a little more about it. It's really a plan for you for the next 90 days, okay, and what that looks like. And I'm going to put in my contact information as well. You don't have the slide, right, Gary? You don't have any
No.
slides right now? Okay,
No,
I'm going
it's
to put
fine.
that in right here while you close out.
And I want to just thank again the panelists for your generosity of giving your time to this great community, for all the community members who participated. We have over 500 people last week, and there'll be over 1,000 who will be on this session, either watching it live or let people know that we're here to help. And thank you for the contributions of people texting me and putting on information on how to solve problems. So together we can get together and make a difference. I think we have to take as much in our own hands as we can. I know the governments are doing the best they can, but we as an industry need to get together. I don't know what I see from the ADA, so we're saying let's play a game and let's get advocacy together and move us forward. So gratitude to you all. My heart goes out, compassion, tolerance, and patience to all human beings. Lots of love to you all.